was sent to us by a young man named Ajezen. He soon will be a student at the Academy of Arts in Tilburg, and he will ask a question which was sent in by many other people too.
Many years ago, Dr. King had a dream, and partially his dream became reality because Obama is now president. My question to you is, where do you see racism in about 40 or 50 years? What is your dream?
The dream is not a static dream. The dream in Montgomery was to be to sit on the front of the bus or where you chose to without being violated and jailed. We won the battle. The dream was to have access to any public accommodation facility anywhere in America, not be denied based upon race or religion. We won that battle. The dream was for all Americans to have the right to vote. Indeed, 18-year-olds. Indeed, women. Indeed, more than just English. We won that battle. So today, we are free, but we're not equal. So the dream is set another curve in the road. In Chicago, for example, 3,200 blacks die a year from health care disparity. That's more people than died in the 9/11 terror attack. And that's just one city. There are 2.3 million Americans in prison America, 1.2 million are black, 500,000 Latino. In part, if you are black or brown and don't have a lawyer and poor, you're more likely to go to jail. One study came out in Chicago where it went something like this. In Illinois, 11% of the drug users are black and 65% of those in jail are black. 60% of those drug users are white, and 10% of those in jail are white. So we have these huge disparities. So while we're making progress in football, basketball, baseball, golf, track, tennis, presidential politics, which makes for real good TV, and it is a reality of growth. On the other hand, blacks are also number one in infant mortality, number one in short life expectancy, number one in home foreclosures, number one in poverty. And so the challenge now beyond our freedom is to fight for equality. But fighting for equality is within the country. We've got beyond that because we're now fighting a different dimension. It's not just the idea of blacks and whites sharing jobs that's important, but in globalization, we've globalized capital, but we've not globalized human rights and workers' rights and children's rights, environmental security and children's rights. Therefore, we have this hemorrhaging of our economy. So the dream demands that we remain current and keep marching because the dream is an elusive. It's not a static dream. We don't get there. We keep searching for the kingdom. The kingdom is not yet. And so I would say to you that we must mark these high moments of success, but should encourage us to think about the Sunday when we were beaten and kicked by horses and dogs for the right to vote. And then to see President Barack Obama declare the president. I asked George Wallace one time, Professor, I asked him, I went to visit him on his dying bed. I had prayer with him, let's talk with him. I said, he had become a different person, he's trying to get his head together. And he had had more blacks in his cabinet in the Southern government. He was really trying to get his heart right. I said, George, I said, why did you unleash those dogs loose on the march of that Sunday? He said, I knew you were going to ask that. I said, why? He said, well, I did them a favor. I said, I don't understand. He said, if I had not unleashed the dogs on them, on the other side of the bridge was a mob. The mob would have been worse. It never occurred to him to break up the mob. Because as a Confederate, he could not conceive of using the militia on the mob. And he could see unleashing dogs on the blacks. So we keep growing, and we keep growing. And we must find satisfaction in our growth. Dr. King, his popularity as a political force was diminishing. He was shot into eternity. I mean, if he were not 82 today, he'd be dismissed as an old man out of step. But somehow in his wisdom, his crucifixion changed the whole world. So even as we work through the mystery of life and death, don't count God out.
And the last question is sent to us by Doreen Hazel, and she is sure you would understand a humanistic theology.